where it's been a minute, my friends. I have been going live, but not on this platform. I have focused. I went on a 40-day challenge, and leading up to my 40th birthday. So I've been on that journey. That was just a Saturday. Thank you to everybody who's followed me on that platform, who went through, connected, and had to join in the conversations. Thank you for being part of that. This place looks a little bit dark and I don't have my extra light. So bear with me again, coming back from, so I don't have all of my technology, but that's not an excuse. We have to be consistent with the standard of excellence. And so I promise it's next, we are going to shift approach starting next week, to make sure that the content is better curated and just positioned to better provide value, for the community. So look out for that. But I want to thank everybody who has been consistent, rocking with us since we started driving beyond borders, and we'll continue the conversations. We'll continue having these meaningful conversations, these check-ins, all of that. So I am excited to just keep having this conversation. I'm glad to be back. Turned 40 over the weekend on Saturday. Also did a TED talk. I can't wait for it to go live, because I can share with the community. But there's been snippets, everywhere, just with what that talked about, what that was about, and if you were to guess what we think I'll be talking about. So we've been the focus has been on what I call belonging capital. That was what I talked about, and it's just um, that the importance of having a being a part of a network and a community, right? Because again, success is not always dependent on your skills, your credentials, your efforts. It's also very, very dependent on your network, on who you know and who is advocating for you in rooms that you can get into, who is speaking your name, who is being your advocate in your absence, and in some places you might not even have all the credentials, but you have what you need is a chance. And somebody has to be actively sourcing for and giving you that opportunity. And that's something that I feel like we need to be more intentional about curating for ourselves as immigrant professionals navigating life in a new country. Um, the running solo idea can only cap you at a level. There's only so high. There's only so much you can get to. And I'm a person of faith. I believe that God can take anybody to anywhere. So, but part of that, even divine design, is also God will still use people, right, to elevate you. What the divinity of it is where He can make your enemies and the people who you don't expect to be your advocate, right? That's why He turns the heart of kings. People that don't like you still favor you. Um, but that said, it will still be there will still always be that human component of it. And so it's designed, and it's built that way. It's we have been created to be dependent, and so a lot of the time we never really stop to acknowledge, hey, who helped me in this journey, right? Who was a part of my village to help me get to where I am? Yes, you put in the work, yes, you put in the hours, but there are people who have done as much as you have or more and have not attained the results you have. And the differentiator is some of these factors. It's network, it's community, it's somebody, sponsorship, somebody saying, hey, I know this person, I can vouch for them, talk to them, have this conversation. That's a lot of time is a difference. It's not who does the most outreach. It's not who, you know, does the most work. A lot of the time it's just endorsement of people who have gone ahead, who have credibility, saying, hey, you know what, I got this, I know this person, and I can vouch for their work ethic, and I know what they're about. That is a lot of the time a critical success factor. So whether you become successful or not, and today I'm talking about just entrepreneurship, and how building what's next, entrepreneurship, innovation, and opportunity. That's what I'm getting into. So, this is a good segue into that conversation, right? It's a good segue. Again, we can't talk about success in these lanes without talking about community and the power of it, and intentionally curating situations that will allow us go on to be successful. So, um, Yes, your hard work will open doors for you, but that is not the only factor that is required. Um, effort is necessary, but it's not enough. Hard work is required. Credentials are relevant, but all of those things are going to be as they are going to be limited in what they do for you, right? In terms of the success and heights you attain outside of the people in your network. And so, as you cultivate certifications and credentials, as you harness your, put in effort and do all of your best, all of those things, please do not neglect, this meaningful, this most important aspect, which is also leaning into the people in your network, and making sure somebody is talking about you. Somebody reached out to me even just last night, and I went for a town hall for one of our political leaders, and just listening to their plans and all of that. It was an exciting, event to be a part of. But coming back from that, somebody reached out to me like, "Hey, this representative asked me to call you because of what you are doing, and we need to do this event, and we need your help." Right? And again, and while I was on that call, the person said, "You know what? I know the national president for this organization. I can get him on the phone right now, and we can do so and so." And now I'm talking to a national president for an organization that is doing what we're trying to do at scale. Um, and we're talking partnership, but it's somebody said and somebody making introductions, and it's in real time, it's happening. And suddenly, somebody you would have wanted to navigate or jump through hoops to meet, to connect with, now I have their number, right? That's how this works. So, all right, let's jump into today's conversation. Building what's next: entrepreneurship, innovation, and community. Right. So that's the topic. Again, welcome again to everyone from YouTube or LinkedIn. Thank you for joining all of us. And now today we'll just be talking about moving from the job to the build. Especially in 2026, right? And I talked about this in one of my sessions, and it's almost like stability is not found in a single employer anymore. People are worried about artificial intelligence and what it's going to do to them. Is my job safe? Am I going to be okay? With organizations leaning heavily into artificial intelligence, investing heavily and making a major push for AI integration into the workforce. And then we hear every other week or so, every other month, we hear news about major corporations doing major layoffs, right, to almost counteract the effect of their investment in artificial intelligence. And a lot of people genuinely are worried about what's going to be the fate of me, right? There's a lot of conversation around AI and the jobs it's going to replace, and everybody should go become a plumber and do those kind of things. And it is a valid concern, right? I will not come and say again. I don't even think anybody can tell us the full where this is going to go. I know there are people who are architecting these things, but I feel like we are all learning, and then it's there's the concept of agility is you don't build from with perfect. You build and then you iterate, right? You get feedback, you build, you get feedback, you iterate, and there's that constant integration, constant development approach, right? And so that's the idea around agility and agile product development for with most, especially for software and in tech, right? Generally, we've moved from that, waterfall for the most part, where it's just fixed outcome projects we build and then we know by the end. So people are not necessarily building with a clear end. I mean, they have an idea of what it should look like, but there's oh, this is how the market is responding. Oh, this feature, there's more demand for it. Oh, these are things. And then they tweak the concepts, right? And so that's innovation, that's agility driving innovation. Um, and so, with artificial intelligence being the backbone of this and making its innovation quick, and people, adoption becoming something that is a big conversation, and we're seeing all of these trends around organizations moving to the AI employee model and all of those things. Um, it's almost clear that you can't have peace of mind if there's only one place your money is coming from. It's wise. I was saying, and I was being lighthearted about it, but I was saying, you know how they say AI will replace you or replace your job? Well, this is, I think, instead of worrying about AI taking your job, uh, why can't we just figure out how do I use AI to create another job so that if I lose this job, I can use AI to replace the job I have, right? Um, so that's the mindset shift that I want to start happening within our community, right? Let's move from the job to the build. What am I creating? Uh, um, Stability is not going to be found in your ability. It's not going to be found in a single employer. It's going to be found in your ability to innovate and solve problems, right? So you have to have that ambition. Let ambition spark you, but strategy and community will be the fuel, right? So I have seen all kinds of ideas. I'm telling you, I've been in conversations. People are Artificial intelligence has given us the freedom to dream. Everybody is has an app idea. Everybody has a an idea for something they want to build, to create, and it is awesome, right? Some are terrible ideas and some are great ideas. I've heard all kinds of things. People have asked to create, invent, build, do different types of things, and so it's incredible. What It's incredible just the things that people are, all of that. So ambition, idea, that's the beginning, that's the foundation, that's the initial spark. But strategy is okay. Now, how do we deploy this? How do we ensure it's reach? And then community is the engine that will sustain this and keep it going. Yeah. So my goal is to help you think beyond, that traditional career ladder and see entrepreneurship as a viable and sustainable pathway for impact. Okay, so let's talk about from employee to innovator, right? And I want to address three shifts, right? The first shift is, approach entrepreneurship as a pathway, okay? Not just starting a business. It's about identifying a gap in the market that your unique diaspora experience can fill. Okay, so turn your frustration into innovation. What problem do you face every day that nobody is solving? Okay, I will talk about, and again, this is an idea, and I don't want to share some things that I'm thinking of. And I know someone will go steal my idea, but let's talk through. For you, it could be, let's talk about how AIM came about, the African American Collective. The reason we started the nonprofit was collective frustrations that we dealt with, and it's like, okay, we are going from this OPT. I was sharing my OPT experience with the people I was talking to last night, the leaders I was speaking with, and they were like, yeah, so you can relate. They're like, yep, I relate to every OPT student who is under stress right now because I was there just 15 years ago, right? And so that was the driving force, going through that and then really not having any resources or resource pool. It was about, you had to research, you had to ask questions, you had to figure it out yourself. There is nothing bad about that. But what if it was institutionalized to where anybody going through this is a place you can go ask questions, right? There is infrastructure in place to ensure that anybody who is in the situation trying to navigate life, because we have this pipeline of people coming and constantly coming and getting into the workforce and having to deal with the same stress, deal with the same. It's not progress if the issues that people who got here 40 years before me experience, I come 30, 40 years later and I'm going through the same thing, right? For some people, it's a badge of honor. They'll tell you, well, I went through it, so you have to. And that's something I need to call out our people for. The fact that you went through does not mean that people after you should go through it. The whole concept of maturity as a group and as a people is, you know what, this is how we have thrived over the years. When we first came, we couldn't do this, but now look at us, we can be in these spaces. That will not happen if we continue to do, well, I went through it, so you go through it. No, it will happen by, listen, I have gone through this. These are the pitfalls, these are the traps, these are the spaces I had to navigate and the difficulties I encountered. This is a framework that will help you not deal with the same things. And so what that does is it gives the next generation a better platform to take off, a better, so turn your pain and frustration into innovation, into solution, right? Because that's what will make it exciting for you. That's why for you it might be, oh, you're a parent and there's solutions that are missing, right? You're thinking about, okay, why is there not nobody doing this? Why is there this is not me? And every year you come to that point and you have the same frustrations. That might be your calling. That's what drives, innovation. Turn frustration into innovation. What problem do you face every day that nobody is solving? Right? There, we have a saying, trouble no they finish, right? In my place, trouble no they finish. Problem, they finish. So there's no point, there will never be a point where we get to where we can no longer innovate, right? And it might even be a version of an existing solution. So people think innovation has to build something that doesn't exist. Maybe it exists, but it doesn't exist for your particular situation, right? There are solutions that might be, oh, this is a solution for, what's an example I can use? Uh, uh, um, Transportation, right? Transportation, getting around cars, but then you realize, oh, the weather in Europe is different from the weather in Africa, and so the road conditions are different. So yes, there is transportation situation solved. However, it's there is still tweaks we need to make to this solution for our unique situation, right? So don't say all the problems have been solved. Well, you still have the problem, so it has not all been solved. It's been at scale. There's a solution. All that means is I can narrow this down. What we did with AIM, we are not the only organization that's doing advocacy and immigrant advocacy, workforce and career mobility initiatives, building community. We're not the only one, right? There are other ones. In fact, maybe not so much within the African community, but within the Latino community, the Hispanic community, within the Asian community, they have established nonprofits. Uh, um, there are other organizations that are, nonprofits that are of African descent. But to what scale are they solving this specific gap? Okay, so fine. We're not trying to just do a nonprofit, but we have a particular problem that we're trying to solve. Makes sense. So that's the approach. I turn frustration to innovation. Um, Shift number two is actionable opportunities over big ideas. This is like, again, people think in those big brand change the world, and again, it's somebody has to do those things. But what will you progression, right? Build from what's relevant. It's not about the best idea, it's about the best execution some of the time. And so, big idea is good, but big execution is more important, right? Start small, build momentum, create a viable solution while you're still working your day job. Remember, we're trying to make sure that we're not dependent on one lane, right? Just in case you get that email. I don't know if anybody's gotten that email before. And I'm not even trying to make light of it because 2025 was terrible for a lot of people. And so, but I know what that feels like for like situations that beyond your control that you had nothing to do with. You did not. It's not poor performance. It's not poor performance. It's not you being tardy. It's not even maybe life happening to you. Just the ecosystem of the world has changed, and now the companies have to adjust, and you're just a casualty of that. I know how that feels, and so it's now that you have some stability and income is coming in, start building small, build gradually, start innovating gradually, have that minimum viable solution while you're still in life. Test the market without burnout, right? See if this is something people are interested in. Test the market without burnout. And then shift number three, build sustainably. Okay, avoid that hustle, the whole hustle as a badge of honor, right? That hustle trap. Sustainable growth requires systems, not just 20-hour work days. You will die. Right? If you don't, you will kill yourself, right? Don't do that. So focus on high leverage tasks that move the needle. Okay, so build sustainably. Um, Leverage artificial intelligence again. Okay, what can I leverage AI for? That has to be anybody who is still opposed to the idea or the concept of artificial intelligence is really getting this thing backward. And so focus on high level tasks, and then things that certain things might be things you want to do, but right now the scope of it might not be realistic for you. You don't want to get fired from your job because you're trying to bring your business, and so build sustainably. right? Have a play, schedule your time, be super effective with your time. Um, and so that's the those are some of the three shifts that we need to make to start making this, shift and adjustment into this from just paid employment and then expanding or our adding to our scope in terms of how we can make this thing work. And really quickly, I want to talk about the power of community in innovation. How does community help you as you innovate? One, you have to leverage community for growth. Your community is not just a group of friends, right? It's your first customer base, it's your focus group, it's your marketing team. Um, Within AIM, we encourage our people to share what you're working on, share your business. We've segmented our community platforms into different, groups so that people have places where for people who want to, do business or they have a place where they can talk to other people, they can share what they're working on. We have a ecosystem for parents. We have an ecosystem, there's a women's network, and all of that. And so it's so important for us to uh, um, leverage community. So we have people have reached out, hey Namdi, what do you think? Can I yeah, share your survey with the community, share with this group. Let that group, let them give you feedback. People have come like, hey, I want to, I'm thinking of doing this, or I have this thing coming up. I want to do you think it will benefit? Share it, right? That is what community is there for, to be that first set of customers, to be your focus group, to test your idea. Um, Leverage your community, leverage your family, siblings, all the people who will call you when things get hard. Call them now, right? Let's build so we don't have to experience those hardships. Let them lend their voice, share it with their colleagues, all of that good stuff. So leverage community for growth. Number two, community is there for visibility and support, right? So while building in public, sharing your journey on LinkedIn, this is the fastest to gain trust and attract partners. Building in public is let people know what you're doing, what you're working on. Um, and you'll be surprised people who are interested in what you are doing. LinkedIn is such a powerful platform. I have connected to so many great people on that platform, right? Instagram, it is not just social media. Um, it's not just social media. It is, just a platform for networking, for connection, for partnerships, meaningful partnerships. It's where people find you. It's where every post is a track record, every comment, everything. Like it's all of that is speaking to your who you are, your credibility. And so it's powerful to those are platforms that we can leverage. Um, so visibility and support is another value that community has, especially building in public. And so that's some of the ways you can really what community does for you. It's leveraging it for growth, for visibility, for support. Your partner is around you. Your co-founder is within your community. Your investors are within your community. People who will take your idea and elevate it, who will give you suggestions. They're there, your media person, your plug into media, into news. They are all within your circle, but they don't know what you're doing, right? So stop trying to build. People who worry too much about who will steal my idea, bruh. What are they stealing exactly, right? You haven't built it. It's you don't know whether your idea will pop or not, and so I would say like you. Of course, I'm not saying be careless with intellectual property and all of that, but that fear factor is preventing you from even moving. It's preventing you from talking to people who could help you because you're worried about who will steal your idea that you have not implemented. I'm telling you, there is no unique ideas, right? There might be unique implementations, unique expressions, but there is nothing new under the sun. I have had thoughts and initiatives that were original ideas. I'm sure I thought about it first, and then as you go on, and after a while, you just realize you see something that pops up in your algorithm, and voila, somebody's already doing this. Some days I have conversations with my wife. and we're like, we want to try this. We make this. We put something down. We get on, we get on any of our favorite AI platforms, and we start workshopping on how this look like. And then next thing we go, somebody's been doing this for the last 2 years, right? So we find groups that, oh, this has existed or something similar, and it's established. There is nothing new under the sun, right? And so um, it's important to note that. So don't be too what helps you win is execution, speed of execution over idea. There are execution wins over the idea or skill of idea, and so focus on implementation and execution, and then execute it so well. I've said this before, right? Like, oh, people say to me, or someone has told me before, and I used to be worried about these things before. I won't pretend like I've had this thing, just on lockdown from the jump. I've had thoughts where, man, what if just people just come and then just take this thing we're doing and then pour gasoline on it and spend a lot of money on ads and do all of this and then just make it look like just knock us out of the game, basically. And I remember I said, one, first of all, this idea has been there. It's been, nobody has done it. If it was going to be done, nobody has done it. And then the level of commitment and efforts that I've put into building, whether it's the African American Collective or my other venture, and trying to get it to somewhere. Somebody comes and does it, and scales it really fast and puts in the level of work I'm putting in, and they deserve the success that they deserve. Like, they deserve, if you outwork me, out invest me out, you deserve that. That's my approach, right? In this life, I know, I can't operate from a place of fear, especially when I'm trying to do good and I'm trying to make impact and I'm trying to change lives. Like, none of this, you know, at the time I'm building this, it doesn't benefit me um, directly, right? It's people who are coming through that it serves. Do I get benefits from it in terms of the network, the connections, the people I'm meeting? That is the gratification for me. It has not enriched me one bit. And so, and so that's the mindset. I chose this path so I can serve and make impact and build something, sustainable, that will, that will last, outlast me, outlive me. Something that my, you know biggest gratification moment, like a big moment of gratification for me, my kids in their school, my oldest daughter, they asked them to provide a list of, leaders in the community, um, write down a name, and her leader in the community was her dad. That, my friends, is fulfillment, right? For me, that was the game changer, and like, that's why I do what I do. Anyway, I digress a little bit. Um, so really quickly, let's talk about what's new, what I'm seeing, in immigration today. A couple of things. First, beginning of April, for anybody trying to go from file H1B lottery, I hope you already filed. That opened up in April at the beginning of the month. I know how H1B is. I remember when I filed mine, had everything ready to go so that once April came, the lottery opened up, we filed. And so it's important that you already have that put in. The complexity with this time is this is the first time we're ever having the wage weighted lottery. That means higher paying jobs or roles are prioritized. Again, there's just a very interesting ecosystem that we're in. So, uh, um, that's why, again, today's conversation really, matters. And so, building a business by the side, and so even if you don't make it on the, maybe you're not choosing based on the, what do you call it, on, the wage metric. Now you have, if you build a business that is innovative and solving problems, um, now you're beginning to look at other options. It opens up other opportunities for you, right, within immigration. So around innovation and entrepreneurship. And so you can start looking at that extraordinary ability visa, the national interest waiver. That part opens up for you as somebody who is building a business, right, that is adding value, that is employing people, that is changing lives. So don't let your future depend solely on that lottery where there's a chance you're selected and there's a chance you're not. For anybody who is in this bucket, please go ahead and make sure that you are one, make sure your application is in. If it's not in already, if you're working with a lawyer, make sure they turn all the things in. The window is I think it's open till June 30th. So still some while, but you want to get in on time. I think majority of people would have turned in already. Um, and then start building by the side. Start building by the side, so that you have another play down the road, right? So you're not dependent on just one route, one option. So that is my gist for today. I'm excited. There's more coming up. We have a lot coming up in May. Um, this Saturday we have our immigration clinic. We are likely going to be having an immigration information session as well for OPT candidates on Saturday. So if you see this and you know somebody, look out for that announcement. It will go live on our platform very, very shortly, um, once we finalize all the logistics. And we're going to be collaborating with another organization to make that happen this weekend. Uh, um, but yeah, so that's happening to open up the month immigration clinic and then the immigration information session. We have our master classes obviously coming back. I'm excited to also announce our business igniter program. Okay, is launching again. Don't take all of this information and not do anything with it. And so to help you, we are creating a program that for people who have ideas and want to start businesses, or you have your business at a place and we want to take it to a place where you build something that is bankable and investable. So that program is starting on May 23rd. And the great thing is it's not just AIM coordinating this program. I am very happy and proud to announce that we have signed the dotted lines with the Gwinnett Chambers Foundation, with Gwinnett Chambers of Commerce Foundation. The chambers will be providing the faculty and the curriculum. We have surveyed the community. We have looked at the needs of business owners and aspiring business owners within the AIM community. And based on that, we have used that to curate a comprehensive 4 week intense training, right? That is geared towards serving our people. And so it's going to be powerful. Again, it's something because of the collaboration with the chambers, it has waived the tuition. So you just have to pay a registration fee. That's on the website. If you go on our website and then go to programs, you see Business Igniter, so africancollective.org. Go to programs. On our programs, you will see one of the programs is the Business Igniter program. Click on that, and you will see the details to sign up for the Business Igniter program. But again, we're excited. We are the Chambers is our partner. Verizon Digital Ready is going to be, our curriculum partner. So it's going to be valuable information. Everybody leaves there with a chance to actually be a part of, to get into the Verizon Digital program and qualify for a $10,000 grant. So there's so many benefits that you stand to gain by being a part of this. And so, if you're a business owner, this is like a accelerator, right? It's not the Y Combinator, Techstars kind of, this is a 4 week, just get you together to start building, right? And make sure you're on the right track. Access to resources, network connections. So come join other people who are building within the community, and let's let's do something meaningful, right? So go ahead and sign up. And then for the women, we have two events this month. We have the two activation events. It's called the Collective Table, and that's our women's network mixer. The Atlanta version will be happening on May the 16th. So if you're local in Atlanta, May 16th, the details again will be on our Instagram page. So go ahead and reach out, go get your tickets, and it's going to be live. So let's connect. And then in New York, we are also having another activation events, Collective Table New York. So yes, AIM is in New York now. We are gradually creeping into the chapter stages where again, our goal, we've always positioned ourselves to be a national organization. We've always had participation from people from across the country. So this is exciting to actually have something going on in a different location. This will be our first one outside of Atlanta. So we're excited. Our first in-person event outside of Atlanta. So we are excited about that. So take note of that as well. So those are a few of the things coming up. We do have an information session for volunteers that'll be happening by the end of the month as well in May. So that's going to be coming your way as well. And last but not the least, and I think actually to me most importantly, May 25th, AIM is going to be 2 years old. It's been 2 incredible years of impact, of progress, of just transforming, within our capacity, making meaningful impact. And so we're proud of our journey so far. And we can't wait to feature people. So you will receive, if you're within our community, people will be reaching, our team will be reaching out to you to get your stories, get your experiences, get your what AIM means to you moments. Please be generous with that information so we can highlight our impacts. And we want to showcase that to the world and say, hey, this is how much we have progressed and this is where we are. So excited to for what the month of May holds. And of course, June, we have our advocacy and policy conference. The tickets will also, it's going to be a free event, but registration will be open soon. So we can all be a part of that. All right, so quite a bit is coming up the remaining part of this quarter. I can't wait. I'm excited. That's how we do it at AIM. I can't wait to explore all of it. We're looking for partners, donors. If you want to be part of what we're doing, please go ahead, donate, connect with us if you have. We have opportunities to partner with other people who have platforms, and create some, win-win opportunities. And so if that's something you are interested in learning more about, also hit us up. We will be glad to have that conversation with you. All right, said a lot, but I hope somebody has gained some value from today's session. I'm glad to be back. And like I said, we will be more intentional about curating this to make it more interactive, more engaging, more meaningful. But till next time, stay blessed. I will see you then. My name is Nandi. God bless you and stay connected.